So, welcoming everyone into class. Let's, as always, start by lying down on the back of the body. So, rolling yourself down, taking the time that you need to get settled. And then when you're ready, lying down on the back of the body, bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to flop down to the floor, bringing the arms overhead, taking hold of the elbows, and then aiming to soften the shoulders down to the floor, making sure that the spine feels long. Allowing the eyes to close, just allowing yourself to settle into class. Gently, softly easing yourself into this position. Taking the time to connect in with the breath, to connect in with the body. To notice where you are. To notice what you feel. Perhaps also noticing any thoughts that are wandering around in your head. Perhaps there are sensations in the body that are pulling you out of your head and into your body. Or perhaps there are still thoughts wandering around from the day. Just noticing where your attention is pulled. And then gently, kindly, aiming to bring your awareness into the breath. Observing the breath as it travels in and out through the body. Seeing if you can notice perhaps a rise and fall of the belly. Perhaps you can feel the restriction we've created through the ribs by having the arms overhead. Seeing if you can intentionally draw your breath all the way down into the belly. Allowing the belly to expand with the inhale and soften with the exhale. If you can, allowing the breath to come and go through the nose. And then seeing if you can bring a slight restriction or constriction into the back of the throat as you exhale. So inhaling down into the belly, exhaling, creating a gentle restriction so that the breath almost becomes audible as you exhale. Feeling how that constriction through the back of the throat just helps you to lengthen the exhalation even further. Continuing to send the breath down into the belly on the inhalation, creating that restriction through the throat, audibly exhaling through the nose. Perhaps visualizing the waves of the ocean the crashing of the waves as we exhale. And then gently blinking the eyes open, stretching the arms up overhead, lengthening. And then taking the arms down, bringing the hands to the thighs, supporting the legs as we draw the knees into the chest, hugging the knees all the way in, gently rocking from side to side. And then bringing the hands over the knees, creating small circles with the knees first in one direction. And then back the opposite way. Squeezing the knees in towards the armpits. And releasing. And then let's bring the arms out to shoulder height, knees stay in close to the chest, inhaling, and then exhaling as we drop the knees down towards the right. Head turns to look out to the left. Allowing the eyes to close, taking the awareness into the body. Noticing the sensations, noticing the stretch, wherever you feel it in the body. So perhaps through the spine, maybe it's in the hip or the legs. Perhaps it's the shoulder. Engaging the core, inhaling, lifting the knees back up to center. And then exhaling, knees drop down towards the left. Head turns to look out to the right. Softening through the knees, through the legs. Head turns to look away. And again, taking the awareness into the body. Engaging the core, inhaling, lifting up. And then once more to each side. So exhaling, knees drop down towards the right. Head turns to look out to the left. And if you would like to, straightening through the legs. Seeing if you can soften through the shoulder. So left shoulder softens, softening through the neck, through the jaw. And then gently bending through the knees, engaging the core, inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, dropping the knees down to the left. Again, if you would like to, straightening through the legs on this side, turning the head to look away. And once more, checking in with the shoulders, checking in with the neck, with the jaw. Seeing if we can soften any excess tension in the body. And then bending through the knees, engaging the core, inhaling, lifting. And then let's squeeze the knees into the chest once more, dropping the feet down to the floor, hands return back out to shoulder height. So feet are a comfortable distance away from the buttocks, and the feet are about hip width distance apart. Inhaling and then exhaling, let's drop the knees down towards the right, head turns to look out to the left. Inhaling, lifting the knees up, and then exhaling, knees drop down to the left, head turns to look out to the right. Inhaling, lifting up, exhaling once more. Inhaling, lifting, exhaling, releasing. Inhaling, lifting the legs back up to center, stretching the legs out long. And while we're here, let's come into a nice big stretch on the floor. So activating and lengthening through the entire body, pushing the fingers of the hands, the toes of the feet away from the body. Feeling yourself lengthening, growing taller through the spine. Lengthening through the crown of the head all the way out to the tips of the toes. So pointing the feet Keeping the fingers, the arms active and engaged, inhaling. And then exhaling, just allowing the body to soften down into the floor. Allowing the breath to return down into the belly. Trying to find that long, slow exhalation. And then once more, let's inhale, lengthening through the body, becoming active through the entire body. Feeling how you can draw the abdominal muscles in towards the midline, squeezing or hugging through the abdominals, through that midsection of the body. And at the same time, while that action supports you to grow longer, pushing out through the arms, fingertips push away, toes push away, and then releasing. Closing the eyes, returning the breath into the belly. Feeling the expansion and the contraction as you breathe. Drawing the knees up into the chest once more, and then crossing the ankles, reaching down on the outside of the legs, coming into some spinal rolls. So either taking hold of the big toes or bringing the hands in underneath the knees. From here, gently rocking the body backwards and forwards. Aiming to rock all the way onto the shoulders and then all the way onto the sitting bones. Curving the spine as we roll the body down. Lifting the spine and the crown of the head as we roll the body up. Crossing the ankles over in the opposite direction, working with a few more. And then if you like, seeing if you can pause, balancing on the shoulders. You might like to gently release the hands down to the floor, seeing if we can extend the legs over the head. Using the hands to support you here, so pushing firmly down into the hands. And then slowly releasing, so gently rocking from one side to the other side as we roll the body down, continuing to press into the hands. And then finding that point of balance, engaging through the core, slowly unwinding the body, flexing gently through the feet so that we get that stretch through the backs of the legs, keeping the core engaged here, and slowly lowering the heels of the feet down to the floor. Feeling the belly soften. And then bringing the hands to the heart or bringing the hands flat to the floor underneath the lower back. Lifting the head, looking to the toes, engaging the core. And then let's inhale as we lift the body up to a seated position. From here, coming over onto all fours, working with a couple of rounds of cat-cow. So making sure that the knees are lined up directly beneath the hips, wrists and hands are directly below the shoulders as well. And then let's inhale, allowing the belly to drop down to the floor, looking forward, lifting the tailbone up into the sky. And then exhaling, scooping the belly, so sending the back of the body up into the sky. Tailbone tucks under, looking to the belly button. Exhaling. Looking forward. And then once more, pushing away through the back of the body, tucking the tailbone under. Releasing. Scooping the belly, looking forward. Dropping the belly down to the floor. Tailbone lifts up into the sky, finding a neutral spine, and then drawing one hip and one shoulder together, releasing, and the other. So finding a stretch through the side body here, releasing once more to each side, seeing if you can look around towards the hip, releasing, and then once more, looking over, seeing if we can catch a glimpse of that hip as we draw the hip towards the shoulder and the shoulder towards the hip. Releasing. From here, let's push down into the left hand, drawing the right arm up into the sky and then releasing. So sweeping that right hand underneath the body, reaching as far away as you can, lowering the shoulder down to the floor, finding a stretch through the spine, finding a gentle twist here through the spine. So continuing to reach away and through the right hand. And then pushing into the left hand, inhaling, lifting up, opening. And once more, exhaling, sweeping the arm through, bending through the left elbow, pulling the hand, the right hand away from the body, finding that stretch once more through the spine. Inhaling, lifting up, opening through the chest. Exhaling, releasing the hand back down. Let's just push away through the spine. Tailbone tucks under, looking to the belly button. And releasing, and then working with the opposite side. So this time pushing your weight down into the right hand, left arm lifts up. We look up to the top hand, exhaling, sweeping the arm through, bending through the right elbow, drawing the shoulder down towards the floor, and then really working to pull away through the left hand. So really working to draw the left shoulder under. Inhaling, lifting up, opening through the chest, through the front body. And then exhaling once more, sweeping that arm through, aiming to draw the left shoulder forward and the right shoulder up and away. Inhaling once more, lifting up, lengthening through the top hand. Exhaling, returning the hand back down to the floor, and then let's tuck the toes under, finding our way up into down dog. So toes tuck under, making sure that we are firmly pushing down into the entire hand. So not just putting our weight in the heel of the hand, making sure that the index finger and the thumb are firmly pushing into the floor, and then lifting the tailbone up into the sky. Perhaps adjusting your stance, you might need to make yourself a little bit longer on your mat. And then really working to push down into the hands, feeling how that activation helps you lengthen through the spine, pushing the tailbone up into the sky, and then feeling like you are lengthening through the backs of the legs. Staying here for a moment, just pedaling through the backs of the legs. So bending one knee, pushing the opposite heel down towards the floor, and then changing sides. Just really enjoying that, noticing how it feels in your body. Stretch through the backs of the legs, making sure that we don't lose the engagement of the upper body. So continuing to work to push down into the hands, activating the abdominal muscles, aiming to draw the lower ribs in, and then seeing if we can push both heels down towards the floor. Looking to the hands, and then let's walk the feet towards the hands. Finding a forward fold here. So allowing the head, the neck to dangle down towards the floor, and then bringing the hands to the shins, inhaling. Let's see if we can lengthen into a flat back. And then exhaling, softening down. Once more, hands to the shins, inhaling, lifting and lengthening, finding that length through the spine. Aiming to find the natural curves of the spine here. Exhaling, softening. Seeing if you can bring the hands a little closer down to the floor. Lengthening through the backs of the legs. Inhaling once more, lifting up. And exhaling, folding down. This time, bringing our hands to the hips, opening through the chest, so drawing the shoulder blades together, engaging through the core, engaging through the legs. Inhaling, lifting the body up. Coming all the way up to standing, and then releasing the arms, having a bit of a shake out, a circle through the shoulders. And then let's come into helicopters. So feet are a comfortable distance apart. Hands come out parallel in front of you. Core is just lightly engaged. So again, making sure that we're not popping out through the belly, lengthening through the back of the spine, and making sure that those front rib points are not flaring out. So gently drawing the ribs down. And then arms are parallel. Gently swinging the hands back behind you. Watching the back hand as it travels behind you, working your way up to shoulder height. And then sweeping the arms up towards the crown of the head and then all the way up into the sky. Working your way gently back down towards shoulder height. Back down to hip height. And then slowly allowing the arms to come to a still point. When they do, stepping the feet together, finding Tadasana, the pose of the mountain. Allowing the eyes to gently close, feeling the feet firmly planted into the floor. Feeling as you push the entire length of the feet into the floor. This helps you lift and lengthen through the spine, feeling the center of your head lifting up into the sky. Feeling the shoulder blades softly falling down the back of the body. Feeling yourself open through the chest. Again, just lightly activating through the abdominal region, making sure those hip points are not flaring. Feeling the tailbone very gently, very subtly lengthening. So still maintaining those natural curves of the spine, but at the same time aiming to lengthen them out. Gently blinking the eyes open. And then let's find our way into straddle. So bringing the feet a comfortable distance apart, fairly wide stance here, aiming to bring the feet and the ankles underneath the wrists, engaging through the core, lengthening through the spine, inhaling, exhaling, folding the body forward, pausing at halfway. Checking in with the body weight, aiming to have our weight evenly distributed through the balls and the heels of the feet. Inhaling and then exhaling as we fold the body forward. Gently rubbing through the backs of the legs, helping us ease and soften into the backs of the legs. And then releasing, bringing the hands to the elbows and gently pulsing through the upper body. Feeling how that teases through the backs of the legs. And then bringing the forearms over towards the left. Aiming to line the forearms up with the outside of the left foot. And then releasing yourself back to center and working your way over to the right. Working your way back to center. And then once more coming over to the first side. Aiming to continue to stay aware of the body. Coming back to center and then over to the second side. So maintaining that body awareness and noticing how the stretch shifts in the body as we move. Working your way back to center. And then releasing the hands, bringing the hands flat to the floor underneath the body. And seeing if we can gently stretch the head down in the direction of the floor. Gently releasing, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and stepping the feet back together. So bringing the heels and then the toes back until they come underneath the body, and then rolling the spine up. So leaving the head and the neck soft and long, tucking the tailbone under, and then rolling yourself all the way up to standing. Circling through the shoulders, having a shake out through the body. Let's work our way down to the knees. So coming onto the knees and then extending through the left leg. So left foot firmly plants down on the floor, making sure that we're not collapsing through the hips here, aiming to stay open through the hips, to stay long through the spine, and then working with some side stretches from this position. So inhaling, bringing the arms up to shoulder height, engaging through the core so that we can support the spine as we fold over towards the right. So inhaling, exhaling, keeping that engagement as we fold over, either coming onto a fist or coming down onto a flat hand, reaching away, lengthening through the top hand, finding the stretch through the side of the body. So really reaching away, imagine someone is pulling on that top wrist. And then engaging the core, inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, coming over. So this time folding over to the left. Again, reaching away through the top hand, finding the stretch through the side body. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling once more, coming down either onto a fist or onto a flat hand. Reaching away through the top arm. Perhaps looking up to the top hand if you feel balanced. Palm of the hand faces down towards the floor. Engaging the core, inhaling, lifting, and exhaling, folding over. Looking up to the top hand, checking in with the hip, making sure that the left hip is not compromised, is not bent and folding over here. We want to have the hips facing forward. And then inhaling, keeping the core engaged, lifting up. Exhaling, releasing the hands, swapping the legs over. So this time extending out through the right leg, right foot firmly plants down on the floor. Continuing to work to lift through the arch of the foot. Lengthening through the spine, bringing the arms up to shoulder height as we inhale. Keeping the core engaged, exhaling, folding over, coming onto either a fist or a flat hand. Reaching away through the top hand. So again, palm of the hand faces down towards the floor, looking up to the top hand if you feel balanced. Working to actively reach away, lengthening through the side body. And then engaging the core, inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, folding over. Lifting, reaching away, finding the stretch through the side body, checking in with the hip, making sure that we're not folding over through the hip, aiming to have the hip or both hips facing forward. So feeling open through the pelvis. You might feel like you can come further over if we bend the pelvis, but aiming to keep it flat. Engaging the core, inhaling, lifting once more, exhaling, folding over, reaching away through the top hand. Making sure we're not collapsing down into the shoulder, the lower shoulder. Staying active here, continuing to press down into the right foot. Inhaling, engaging the core, lifting, and exhaling, folding over. Finding the stretch, taking the awareness into the body. And then engaging the core, inhaling, exhaling, releasing the hands, bringing the knees back in, and then coming to a seated position. So bringing the soles of the feet together, and then bringing the hands around the ankles, elbows in towards the knees, rocking from one side to the other side. as we gently massage through the buttock muscles. Working your way back to center, and then from here, working with tippling today. So seeing if we can bring the heels of the feet a little closer in towards the pelvis, making two fists with the hands, and then bringing your arms around and tucking the hands in as close as you can to the buttocks, pushing the fists down into the floor, rolling the shoulder blades back and down, and then pushing into the hands, lifting the pelvis off the floor, and then swinging the pelvis towards the heels, at the same time aiming to draw the knees down towards the floor. From here, bringing the feet flat to the floor, bringing the knees together, and then coming up onto the balls of the feet and working to take the knees down to the floor. So gently stepping one knee and then the other down to the floor, opening through the chest, and then inhaling, lifting the knees back up to the nose, and exhaling once more, aiming to take the knees down to the floor, drawing the shoulder blades together, feeling how opening through the upper body helps you get more length through the lower body. And then once more, inhaling, bringing the knees up. Exhaling, if you've got a third one in you, aiming to take the knees down to the floor, and if you can, lifting the buttocks off the heels. If the knees are not on the floor, continuing to just walk the knees one at a time, lengthening through the fronts of the legs, releasing the buttocks back down to the heels, bringing the knees back up to the nose, and then coming down onto flat feet, lengthening the legs out, and having a shake out through the wrists and perhaps through the legs as well. Let's bring the feet back together once more. So coming into bound ankle pose here, and then interlacing the fingers, wrapping the fingers around the toes and feathering through the knees, allowing the eyes to close, allowing the knees to gently bounce up and down. Checking in with the spine, making sure the spine is nice and long still. The crown continues to lift up into the sky. Shoulder blades soften down the back of the body. Just starting to allow the body to settle down, to settle back into a slower, stable state, rhythm. Feeling the points of connection with the earth. Feeling the symmetrical movement of the knees. Feeling the slowing of the breath. And then gently blinking the eyes open, allowing the knees to come to a still point and finding a comfortable cross-legged position for Yoga Mudra. So lengthening through the spine, allowing the eyes to close. Bringing the backs of the hands over the knees. Bringing the forefinger into the pad of the thumb. Remaining three fingers are outstretched and together. And then with your next inhalation, sweeping the arms back in line with the hips, drawing them up to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, folding the body forward, crossing the wrists over the lower back, bowing the forehead down towards the floor. Bowing in this first time in respect for self. For the balance that you aim to find between your internal and external worlds. Aiming to find harmony between your thoughts and your actions. To be true to ourselves, both within ourselves and around us. Bowing in respect for self. Inhaling, lifting the body up, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, releasing the hands down in line with the hips, sweeping the arms forward and bringing the backs of the hands to rest over the knees. Pausing with the eyes closed, taking the awareness into the breath. And working a second time. So we inhale, sweep the arms back in line with the hips, drawing them up to shoulder height, softening. Exhaling, folding the body forward, crossing the wrists over the lower back, bowing the forehead down towards the floor. Bowing this second time in respect for others. Noticing the give and take, the ebb and flow between yourself and others. The ways that you are able to give and to receive. The ways that others do exactly the same. Bowing in respect for others. Inhaling, lifting the body up, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, releasing the hands down in line with the hips, sweeping the hands forward and bringing the backs of the hands to rest over the knees. Connecting in with the breath. And working a third and final time. Inhaling, releasing the hands back in line with the hips, drawing them up to shoulder height, softening. Exhaling, folding the body forward, crossing the wrists over the lower back, bowing the forehead down towards the floor. Bowing this third and final time in respect for all that is. Noticing your relationship with the world around you. Your physical environment, your home, your neighborhood, and extending that out to the entire planet and perhaps even further, encompassing the entire universe. And noticing the giving and receiving between you and the universe. Bowing in respect for all that is. Inhaling, lifting the body up, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, releasing the hands down in line with the hips, sweeping the arms forward, backs of the hands come to rest over the knees. Softening through the elbows, releasing the fingers, just allowing the hands to rest comfortably over the knees. And pausing for a moment in stillness. Watching the giving and receiving of the breath. And then gently blinking the eyes open, gently unwrapping the legs, pointing and flexing through the feet. And then working our way all the way up to standing. So slowly coming up to standing, stepping the feet wide apart, bringing the arms up to shoulder height. So again, aiming to have the ankles in line with the wrists, and working again today with Trikonasana. So working first to the right, so turning the right foot out 90 degrees and angling the left foot in slightly. Looking out over the right hand and then keeping the core engaged, the spine long, leaning over to the right and then reaching down towards the calf muscle. Perhaps we can reach the ankle and aiming to turn to look up to the top hand. So aiming to have one straight line running from the upper hand all the way down to the lower hand. Aiming to continue to lengthen through the spine. And then engaging the core, returning the gaze down to the lower hand. And then inhaling, lifting the body up. Exhaling, returning the head and the feet back to center. Working with the opposite side. So angling the back foot, so right foot angles in slightly, and then turning the left foot out 90 degrees. Looking out over the hand. Inhaling, engaging through the core, and then stretching away, lengthening through the body. And then releasing the hand down towards the shin, perhaps down to the ankle or the floor, looking up to the top hand. Seeing if we can continue to lengthen through the spine. Aiming to feel as though someone is pulling you up by that top hand, so we don't actually have too much weight in the lower hand. Using the lower hand to gently push against the leg so that we continue to open up through the chest. Looking down to the lower hand, engaging the core, inhaling, lifting up, and then exhaling, returning the feet back to center, returning the head back to center, and lowering the arms back down. Slowly bringing the feet back together, so drawing the heels and then the toes in, until the feet come directly underneath the body, pausing with the eyes closed in Tadasana. And then gently blinking the eyes open. And then working our way down onto the knees so that we can work with camel today. So we'll untuck the toes and bring the hands to the thighs, lifting up, lengthening through the spine. And then inhaling, we bring the right hand up into the sky, and then exhaling, sweeping the hand back behind you, bringing it to the lower back. Turning the chest back to face the front, making sure that the shoulders are facing forward, and then inhaling, sweeping the arm up. So left arm this time lifts up into the sky, exhaling, sweeping the hand back, aiming to bring the hand to the lower back as well. And then from here, engaging through the front body as we open through the body, pushing the hips forward, aiming to drop the head back behind you, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then engaging through the front body, lifting yourself up, exhaling, sinking yourself down, aiming to drop the pelvis between the heels, taking hold of the little toes, lengthening through the spine, and then folding the body forward, lengthening through the spine as you fold forward, tucking the chin under, bringing the forehead down to the floor, releasing the hands and pausing. Inhaling, let's work a second time. So lifting the body up, this time working first with the left hand. So looking forward, hands on the front of the legs. And then inhaling, lifting through the left hand, looking up to the sky. Exhaling, circling the hand back behind you, bringing it to the lower back. Squaring the chest back to the front, shoulders square back to the front, opening through the chest. So squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then inhaling, lifting up through the right hand. Exhaling, sweeping the hand back behind you, drawing the hands to the lower back. So supporting yourself here, opening through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeezing the elbows together. And then seeing if we can open through the chest. Sending the breath down into the belly. Breathing deeply. And then inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling once more, sinking the buttocks back down between the feet. Taking hold of the little toes, lengthening through the spine. And then aiming to lengthen further through the spine as we fold the body forward. Releasing the forehead down to the floor. Releasing the arms. Releasing the grip of the little toes. Allowing the breath to flow down into the belly. Perhaps feeling the belly expanding out towards the thighs as we inhale. Feeling the lower back soften as we exhale. And then gently inhaling, lifting the body up. And then from here, releasing the legs out from under you, extending the legs out forward so that we can work, excuse me, there's a fly here, so that we can work with creative power pose. So lengthening through the backs of the legs, picking the sitting muscles up, pulling them out from underneath you, and then cupping the hands by the hips, looking forward, lengthening through the spine, feeling those shoulder blades rolling back and down, engaging gently through the core, inhaling, we circle the arms up, and then exhaling, folding the body forward, taking a comfortable grip anywhere between the knees and the toes, inhaling, lifting and lengthening, and then exhaling, folding the body forward. Finding the stretch through the back of the body. Once more, let's inhale, lifting and lengthening, and then exhale, seeing if we can soften down. And then releasing the grip of the legs, extending the fingers out beyond the toes, bringing the arms alongside the ears, engaging the core, inhaling, lifting the body up, exhaling, circling the arms down, drawing the knees up, interlacing the fingers and balancing on the sitting bones, balancing with the feet off the floor, pausing with the eyes closed, just giving the body the opportunity to recalibrate, to absorb the benefits of the posture. And then gently bringing the feet back down to the floor, coming onto the knees so that we can find our way into the bandhas. So toes tucked under, aiming to rest gently on the heels of the feet, hands rest comfortably on the thighs, and then let's start by exhaling any breath in the body. Inhaling a nice deep full breath down into the belly, filling up through the sides of the chest and then the top, holding with full breath, exhaling all of the breath through the mouth, releasing all of the breath from the body, sucking the stomach muscles back up and underneath the rib cage, engaging through the pelvic floor, tucking the chin into the chest, pausing with no air in the body. And then inhaling, lifting yourself up, and exhaling, untucking the toes and sinking yourself forward. So perhaps resting the forehead on your hands, maybe directly on the floor, allowing the belly to soften. And then inhaling, lifting up, working a second time. So releasing any air from the body. Inhaling deeply down into the belly, the sides of the ribs, the top of the chest. Holding that breath. And exhaling all of the breath through the mouth. Making sure that we've released all of the breath. Tucking the chin under, sucking the stomach muscles back up and under the rib cage. Engaging through the pelvic floor. Engaging through the abdominal region. Making that lock through the chin or the throat. When you need to breathe, inhaling, lifting, and exhaling, folding, softening forward. Inhaling, lifting up, working a third and final time. So exhaling. Inhaling, seeing if you can count to 7 as you inhale. Holding. Exhaling through the mouth. creating your 3 locks. So creating the pelvic lock, the lock through the abdominal region as we suck the stomach back up and under, and the lock through the throat by drawing the chin into the chest. Inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, folding yourself down, coming to lie all the way down onto the floor, turning the head to one side, pausing for a moment. Allowing the breath to flow down into the belly. And then gently interlacing the fingers over the lower back or the tailbone, preparing to work with the grasshopper, or a variation of the grasshopper. So turning the head, bringing the forehead flat to the floor, lengthening through the spine, making sure the arms feel long, extending the arms down towards the heels of the feet. So drawing the shoulder blades together, inhaling, lifting up, looking forward, lifting through the chest, and then seeing if we can lift the legs and the arms away from the body. Looking forward, continuing to lift yourself up and away from the floor. And then exhaling, softening down, turning the head to one side, pausing. Bringing the attention into the heart, becoming aware of the beat of the heart. And then preparing for either cobra or sphinx. So hands are either on the outside of the shoulders, forearms are flat on the floor, or if you are working with the sphinx, our more gentle variation, then bringing the hands one hand's length forward, leaving the forearms down on the floor as we lift the body up. To work with the full position, we push down into the hands, lifting through the head, looking forward, lifting the chest, and then pushing gently into the hands, lifting the diaphragm and the belly off the floor. Pelvis stays firmly connected with the floor, continuing to have a slight bend through the elbows, making sure that we're not sinking down into the shoulders, and then continuing to push forward through the heart. Breathing deeply. And then gently releasing, lengthening the body as you lower down, tucking the chin under, bringing the forehead flat to the floor. Pausing for a moment. And then pushing up and coming to lie down on the back of the body. So rolling yourself over. Drawing the knees into the chest. And then coming into the pose of tranquility. So releasing the hands down to the floor, taking the feet up into the sky, and then pushing into the floor. We aim to take the feet back behind the head, sweeping the arms around, and then bringing the hands to either the feet or the ankles, and slowly working your way up the shins until we find a balanced position here over the shoulders. So over the shoulders and the upper back, aiming not to have much weight through the neck here. Finding a gentle lock through the throat. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Breathing. And then we're gently releasing the hands back down the legs, bringing the hands down to the floor, engaging the core, slowly unwinding the spine. Lowering the feet all the way down to the floor. And then bringing the hands back down to the floor. Gently bending through the knees, preparing to set ourselves up for the fish. So feet come flat to the floor, lifting through the pelvis, locking the thumbs together underneath the body, squeezing the shoulder blades together, bringing the hands underneath the pelvis, unlocking the thumbs so that we're sitting on flat hands, and then lengthening through the legs. From here, pushing into the elbows so that we can lift up through the heart, through the sternum, taking the center of the chest up into the sky and allowing the head to drape back behind you. Continuing to breathe here. Working with the pituitary gland as well as the parathyroid glands. Continuing to work to lift the heart up into the sky, making sure that we are not collapsing down through the shoulders. And then slowly lengthening your body out. So lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the neck, bringing the head back down to the floor, pushing into the heels, releasing the hands out from under you. And then slowly turning the head from one side to the other side, releasing one ear and then the other down to the floor. And then pausing when the head next comes back to center. Taking the awareness into the body. And then moving slowly and gently, working our way into the elephant. So aiming not to disturb the energy that you created, the sense of stillness within the body, and moving slowly, working our way up to a seated position, and then slowly working our way around, coming into the elephant, tucking the toes underneath the body, lifting the tailbone up into the sky, stepping the feet to mat width distance apart, and then aiming to soften the heels of the feet down to the floor and allowing the head to drape comfortably between the neck, between the shoulders. So head and neck are long and soft, allowing gravity to gently help you lengthen through the neck, feeling the weight of the head. And then lifting lifting the heels up, looking to the hands, stepping the feet back together, lowering the knees down to the floor, untucking the toes, sinking the buttocks back to the heels, and balancing your forehead on your fists. Pausing here. Inhaling, lifting yourself up, and then rolling yourself down, coming to lie on the back of the body for a couple of minutes of relaxation. So lying yourself comfortably down to the floor, allowing the eyes to close, extending the legs out long, having the feet a comfortable distance apart, releasing the hands down to the floor, and again having the arms and the hands a comfortable distance away from the body. Aiming to turn the palms of the hands up towards the sky. And then allowing the fingers to lightly curl. Opening through the chest, allowing the breath to flow through the body. And then gently increasing the awareness in the body, the awareness of the breath, drawing the breath down into the belly, wiggling through the fingers and the toes, and taking the arms up overhead, having a big stretch out, and then rolling over onto one side, drawing the knees up towards the chest and slowly making your way up to a seated position. So moving slowly, moving gently, finding a comfortable seat, and then drawing the hands to the heart, allowing the eyes to close. Inhaling deeply, and then as we exhale, sending thoughts of kindness, of gratitude to yourself for the time and the effort you've put into this practice. And then extending those wishes out to the rest of the world. Inhaling, gently blinking the eyes open, releasing the hands. And thank you for joining me.